I haven't seen you in a long time. Since the last time I saw you was when you were in the Coronado, like the treatment center, right?
Yeah.
You ended up leaving?
No, I left when they told me to leave.
Okay, so treatment was over?
I did not leave against medical advice. I left when they kicked me out in the middle of the day with no warning.
Did they give you a reason?
Insurance said it was time for me to go. The antibiotics were done. I was supposed to have one more surgery that never got done.
So I'm back with Darla. Darla, my condolences for the passing of your daughter, Amber. You texted me on Sunday morning that you had got the news from the Phoenix Police Department about Amber. What did they say?
They said she was found early that morning in like an alleyway, and just like looks like she had gone to sleep. There was no trauma or anything.
They're still doing like toxicology reports,
Yeah.
The medical examiner to determine if it was like an OD or just like a heart gave out or something.
Yeah,
right?
I think her body just gave out because she was so skinny.
You had seen her the week prior?
Yeah, I hadn't seen her since July, and she showed up at my house last Saturday and wanted my phone number because when I got a new phone, I would get it free if I changed my number, so I changed my number. So, she didn't have it anymore.
You had not seen her since July.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you did see her a week ago, what did she look like?
She was just probably not even 80 pounds, just skin and bones. I don't even know how she was walking around. She just looked terrible, and it just broke my heart. And I just kept on asking her, why don't you go get some help? I'll take you, like always. And she just left with her friend.
Gosh, it's so difficult. It must be hard on you, but also Jade. Jade is Amber's daughter. She's in your care. How did she take it?
She took it pretty good. She said she had a dream that she passed away, and I had a dream too the same week. So, I told my husband that when I saw her that day that she's not going to last much longer. Even though you've been trying to prepare yourself all this time, it's not easy still. Even though I knew she was going to die on the streets, just because she wouldn't take help from anybody. And I tried for years and years, and I know so many other people did, but she just wouldn't do it.
You and I have been communicating for a year, a little bit over a year.
A couple of years.
Couple years now. I remember you texted me and you said, hey, if you find out that she passed away, can you notify me first before you notify anybody else? And I said, of course. I just, of course.
Because I didn't want Jade to find out before I knew. That would be really horrible, because she looks on there for new videos, for her and stuff. So
yeah, and gosh, you've been preparing yourself, the emotional preparation.
Yeah, when the police showed up, my husband was standing in the kitchen, and he went out and he goes, can I help you? He goes, can we speak to Darla Homer? He goes, Darla, the police want you. And I'm thinking, well, Jade hasn't done anything lately that I know of, I'm like, and I said, then I just knew before I went out the door, I knew that's why they were here, because I couldn't think of any other reason why the police would be at my door. And then the police were so nice. I know they're used to doing this, but they were just really, really good.
Professional.
Yeah.
Showed empathy.
They answered all my questions, and because I asked, she didn't die. How did she die? She didn't die when somebody did something to her. And they go, no, she died. Looked like she was peaceful. There was no signs of anything.
Gosh, I first interviewed her 3 years ago, I believe, when I met her out in the streets looking at the thrush.
Oh, yeah.
And her entire mouth, she couldn't really talk, right? Just ravaged by just years of addiction. Took her to treatment once. Saw her, saw her in the hospital. Right, we gave her food, we gave her clothes, and it's always heartbreaking. It's really sad. It's sad because at the very least she's not suffering.
Yeah, that's why I am heartbroken, but then I thought, well, I'm also kind of relieved because she's not out there starving to death or doesn't have any protection from the weather or the dangers. She's not having to do that anymore. And I know people are probably going to say HIPAA laws, but she always gave the hospitals consent for me to know about her, and now she's not here, so it's really not a violation. But last year she had HIV ever since she found out when she was carrying Jade at 5 months. But it didn't transfer over to her because Jade had to have a test like every 3 months for 2 years, and she was fine. And but then last year the hospital told me that it had turned into AIDS. And every time she went to the hospital several times within the last year, and the last time she was in there, this wasn't the last time I saw her for 15 days. And every time she was in there, she had pneumonia really bad, and they get pneumonia, and she knew what was going on. I think, my daughter's really stubborn, but sometimes that's a good thing and sometimes it's not, but she's been so stubborn all her life. But I think she wanted to go the way she did. She just wanted to sit down and just, I know she didn't want to die in a hospital. I knew that, and I think she just did it the way she wanted to do it. I really think when she came and saw me that day, she knew she wasn't going to be here for long.
She came to say bye? I
think so.
And since then you've been dreaming, having these dreams, and also Jade has been dreaming. What is going to happen with Jade? Do you think this is going to help her understand that there are consequences to our behavior, and that'll help her to straighten out a little bit?
Yeah, we talked about that in the little time I had, after she, stopped getting upset and such. And I said, see, I've always told you this is what happens. That's why you don't want to go down the path that you were headed, because you know what happened to your mom, And she said, yeah, and she's been working on it. She's going to be going to a behavior center for a while, and sometime soon they can really give her a lot of help.
She's been rebellious the past few years and giving
the
you a lot of
last year and a half.
Last year and a half, really bad.
Oof, we don't even know. Yeah, I'm not going to let it out here, but
right.
I want to keep her privacy.
Right. Do you think she's just frustrated from just?
Well, she told me she's been doing this stuff because she's very depressed because of her mom chooses drugs over her, and she tries not to think about but she goes, it just gets stuck in my head sometimes, and I'm really depressed, and she takes medication for depression, but they upped it not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, and so I'm hoping that helps her also.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't seen Jade in a year and a half.
Probably not.
We sat here a year ago.
Probably so.
About a year ago. Time flies. You've been, because I remember Amber told me that in her 20s with a boyfriend is when she was introduced to H. 21 years old.
She had a boyfriend that sold heroin.
And so that's probably how she contracted it maybe back then.
Who knows when she contracted it.
And ever since then it's just been going down that road.
It was hers. And then she started using meth, and that was her favorite. She used that for a long time in meth. And then and she was clean for almost 4 years, and then when she went back out it was, I think, meth, and then she started to fentanyl,
So prevention through awareness, That's what I try to make people understand, the purpose of this channel. I can't save Amber. You can't save Amber. Amber has to save Amber. Amber didn't want to save Amber. Amber didn't want to go to. She hated the hospital. She wanted
And rehab. She wouldn't.
She wanted freedom. She wanted to do what she wanted to do, right? She was very anti-doctors, anti-hospital. Just, I want to do what I want to do. Stubborn, like you said. And, you know, that's okay. You know, she's going to do what she wants to do. But there's a lesson here for all of us, right? We have to be sure that we're taking care of ourselves. We have to be sure that we know who we're hanging out with. A boyfriend, a husband, somebody says they love you and they give you a needle and some crap in it and say, here, if you love me, you'll do this. Right? If you love me, you'll smoke this pill. That's not true, man. That leads to ruin and just, it's really sad. But prevention through awareness, Amber story will save one person out there.
I hope so.
At least one person.
I really hope so. You know, since she passed, and people may say, wow, that's probably not good, but I have slept better than I have in years the last few days. You know, because I'd go to bed with all this worry about both of them in my mind, you know, every single night. You know, just praying that, you know, you just keep my daughter safe out there one more night.
Darla, you're such a strong woman. You've been taking care of Amber as a baby, as an adult. Her daughter, you've had her for...
Since she was 5 months old.
Basically 14 years, right?
Yeah, she'll be 15 in July.
15 years
in
you've
July,
had her.
She'll be 15.
You're a strong woman, but you come from a long line of strong women, right? You've mentioned that to me.
Especially my grandmothers. They were the strongest women I've ever known. Both my grandmothers.
As strong as you may be, it wears on you after a while, though, right?
Yeah, it wears on you, you know. But I've been able to do what I need to do. And then, like, when my mom passed away, everybody in the family was just couldn't, you know. Well, I was an adult. I was like 32. And everybody's like, what do we do? What do we do? And I just took charge because my sister just gets hysterical. My brother just shuts down and my dad just wanders around. And so I just, you know, I did it and then I grieved later, you know, because somebody had to do it. Somebody had to take care of everything, you know. So that's what I did, you know, because that's where I am in situations, you know. I've been doing grieving, you know, but there are also other things I have to do, you know.
And so when you say you've slept the best the past few days than you have in years, it's that pressure,
I think it's
stress.
the relief of my daughter's gone. I know that. But she's not out there in that dangerous. She's not out there at night. She's not out there having to fend for herself. She's not out there having nothing to eat or nowhere to get out of the weather, you know. And I'm hoping she's at peace.
No more pain, no more having to hustle.
Yeah.
And her legacy is going to be a lesson for others.
I hope so.
Okay.
I hope some of these people who say, well, you should have took her home, you should have did this, you should have did that, you know, I can't bring her home. Not when I have a child I'm raising. She can't be in an environment. You know, she has problems of her own. You know, I would have loved my daughter to be clean and living with us again. That's all I wanted with her, is to get clean and, you know, come home. That's all I've wanted for years.
What's next? What do you there's still the coroner is still going to give you some answers?
Yeah, probably not for, it'll be a while, they said.
A few weeks?
Probably not. She said up to 90 days because then they can't, until they find out what she died of, they can't put out the death certificate. So, yeah, and she's going to be cremated.
Okay. How can people help you? How can people help Jade? I know in the past, people wanted to help Jade with braces. Jade wasn't liking her smile, so you I did an interview with you folks. It's probably the last time I saw Jade a year ago, and you gave your Cash App so that people can donate, and people did donate.
And we started on that journey, and she's got she was having some teeth removed, because the way her teeth are, and then I broke my leg, and I was down for like 4 months. So, and now she's it's on hold right now until she gets through this behavior thing.
So right now you need help. So if you want to give me your Cash App, we can mention it to these folks, and there'll be some kind individuals.
It's
that are
different from the last, because I got a new phone and they wouldn't let me use the same one.
Okay. What is it?
It's a $Minnie, MINNIE 6185.
Got it. I'm gonna post it in the description. Okay. And so, Darla, it's like a partnership. You would text me, hey, have you seen Amber? I would text you, hey, I'm on the streets, have you seen Amber? Haven't seen her. It's been weeks, it's been months, haven't heard from her.
Yeah, I don't know where she was. I know the last place she was in Sunny Slope. That's where they found her. But my husband and I went and looked a few times, but we never found her, so maybe she was somewhere else at that time. I don't know. She travels all over the place.
No lie, like I mentioned to you, you texted me, and then we had a conversation over the phone. The past 3 weekends, 2-3 weekends, I was out there in that area looking for her. She commented on one of my videos.
Art, get a hold of me. I want to talk to you. I saw that.
Yeah.
I may not always go in, but a lot of times I'm just watching,
Yep, that was her.
Yeah.
That was her, okay? That was about the third time that she had communicated. Art, this is Amber. I'm in the usual place. I know where that's at. I'm just cruising around because I want to see her. I want to talk to her. Try to motivate her to go, hey, let me go take you to treatment once. Let's go again. Do you want to go to hospital? Do you want to ride to your mom's? Go see your baby? And I couldn't find her.
Yeah, I don't know what her usual place was, actually. Was it 27th, you think?
Around the hospital.
Oh, yeah. I think she moved from there a while ago.
Yeah. That's where.
No, she should have told you.
Yeah, that's where she. And then somebody had told me. I showed her picture. Hey, have you seen her? Oh yeah, she was here a couple days ago.
Yeah.
So I was like hot on her
Every time
trail.
we looked for her, we never found her.
Yeah.
Went to her usual spots, when she's hanging out at Metro for so long, and 27th, and where's that other place? I can't even remember now. But we would check all the places that we knew she used to hang out at, but we would never find her.
What lessons are here for other families that have loved ones that are out there in the streets? Any advice, any words of wisdom, anything you could tell them to help them in their journey with their loved one?
Well, I think, when you see them, you should always offer help. And she knew I loved her. Every time I saw her, I didn't care if she was filthy dirty or not. I would hug her and tell her I love you. Would you get some help? Can I take you somewhere to get some help? And but I didn't see her that often in the last couple of years because she never contacted me. Even when she still had my old phone number, I just never heard from her. And when we went to look for her, we never found her. And I would say when you do have contact with them, let them know you love them. You don't have to condone their drug use, because I sure didn't. But just let them know you love them, and when you're ready to get some help, I'm here. Just give me a call or show up or whatever. A lot of people say, well, why didn't you get her off the street? Because I can't bring her into my house doing that stuff, and because she would have, I'm sure, more addicts over when we weren't home. You know how it goes, and I can't have her daughter be around that. That was the main thing, and she knew that she couldn't see her daughter unless she was clean, and so that's why she never came around. I know that much. But I would say just always, whoever it is, let them know you love them, and you're not giving up on them, and that if you can help them in any way, like maybe they just need some clean clothes that they need. Like when she came, she goes, Mom, can you make me a sandwich? And I said, yeah. And so I made her a sandwich, and I gave her all this other stuff to eat, and water and drinks, and a big old huge bag of stuff, And if that's what I could do for her that day, then that's what I could do for her, And because I even asked her to go get help several times. But just the main thing is always let them know you love them, no matter what's going on. I told both of my girls that it doesn't matter what you do in your life, I'm always going to love you. And even if it's something really bad, I'm always going to be by your side. And that's what they need to know. And Amber knew I loved her unconditionally. She knew that. So that's I would say, don't forget you love them.
Tell them I support you. I don't support your addiction, but when you want to get better, get well, I'll be there 100%.
That's what I always told her, And I don't know how many times I sat at the hospital emergency with her, and how many times I went to the hospital when she was in there, and
Darla, you've been taking care of Jade for 15 years. She's about to be 15. I have a brother and a younger brother. Unfortunately, he relapsed. He's out in the streets of Phoenix right now. You've seen his son, Isaac,
So
right?
cute.
He's my little assistant on lives, right? The past couple weeks, and that's how you met him. That's how a lot of Lost in Phoenix folks have seen my nephew. We have to step in and help as
when
best
they're
we
small,
can.
yes,
Right?
And I've always talked to Jade ever since Jade knew Amber was her mom. Was her mom, and she knew it when she got old enough, and I told her what her mom was doing because she needed to know. I don't lie.
At what age was that? Did you tell
Probably
her?
around 8 or 9.
Okay.
And and I didn't want to lie about it because she needed to know the truth, And like if a child asked me something, I'm not going to lie to them about it, I just tell them the truth, and if it upsets them, then that's okay. We'll talk about it, But I felt she needed to know why she was with us and why we adopted her, and because we're family, and I wasn't going to let her go anywhere else. She's my granddaughter, Why would I let her go to somebody else? That wasn't going to happen, and I've always talked to her about drugs, and don't start, smoking or smoking weed or anything else. And if somebody gives you a nice colored pill at school, just don't touch it and go tell an adult and don't take it. We've always talked to her about drug awareness.
I mentioned about my nephew because I want you to know that your strength inspires others. It's inspired me. I've known your story. Darla's doing this for 15 years. I can step in and help
And I'm a lot older
the
than
family. A couple years,
A
but
lot more than a couple years.
but you see my point where you think you're alone out there. but
Sometimes you
there's-
do. Sometimes you do feel alone,
There's a lot
because,
of people in your circumstance, though.
Like I would go back and think about it, and all the people that I was so close to, my friends from high school, all their kids are doing these wonderful things, and it would really hurt me because why did my daughter do this? Why couldn't she just live her life, Why does she have this kind of life? I never know. I ask her, and she just would say, I don't know. I didn't know what traumas she's been through, and I haven't been around. I'm sure there were some, but I have no idea what they are. So, there was 2 years here that I didn't even know if she was alive or dead. She never contacted me. And then I ran into her one day, and, but, yeah, it's there's a lot of grandparents that have the grandkids. There's a lot, especially here, and the border towns, the close to border towns and stuff. It's all over. I mean, it's all over the 50 states. I mean, there's so many.
That's why you have to know that people watch Amber's story, they watch your story, your journey, you're part of it. And they want to help you. They want to be supportive. They want to say, hey, that's my story too. I have a son. I have a daughter. I have a loved one that's out there, been out there for years. They're going to draw inspiration from your strength. And I just want you to know you're not alone. The Lost in Phoenix family is going to help you, support you and Jade as best we can. We're going to remain friends, part of the family, and make sure that she doesn't go down that path. We want her to have a good future and live the life that she deserves, and just do better than.
That's what I tell her. Well, you're where you're at. Um, think about the things you've done and why you really did them, and think, do I want this to be my life? And then think about your mom. That was her life since she was 21. There was almost 4 years out of that she wasn't okay. But that's a long time. She's 40. And I tell her, think about it, and then think about what you want to do in the future. What do you want to do? What do you want to be? She does have some intellectual disabilities, and she's had a lot of testing done, and we found out a lot of stuff. And it's very heartbreaking because I had a feeling this stuff was going on, but I could never get anybody to refer me to the people she needed to be referred to. And if maybe they did, we wouldn't be going through what we've been going through, And but now she's going to be getting help, and I hope this really helps her. And I tell her, think about it, and just to let you know, these people are here to help you. So just grab all the help you can get and all the knowledge and go with it. You're smart, you can do it, and you got to want to do it in here for your future, because we're not going to be around all the time. I'm 64, my husband's 66. I've had heart problems. When I went in with my broken leg, they found out I had AFib. It's under control right now, but it could come back. My heart doctor says it could come back at any time, especially when I'm majorly stressed. And I didn't even know I had it when I went in there, and they found it, in the emergency room. And that's what I tell her. Just think about your future. You don't want your future on the streets doing drugs. You want better for you. You have to want better for yourself.
Absolutely. Darla, we're going to remain in contact. Thank you very much. We'll talk again very soon. I just want you to know you're not alone. We love you. We'll support you. And thank you for opening up and sharing, this tragic loss for your family, for the Lost in Phoenix family. Okay. I really do admire you, and you give me strength, okay, so I can continue to help Isaac, okay?
On advice, just give me a call.
Yes, I'm going to call you, okay? So you're awesome, and I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Okay, thank you.